Greetings everyone, welcome aboard. My name is Joseph James. It's December 1st, 2010. Here's your live trading recap. Boy, December 1st already, guys. I can't believe we're already in the 12th month of the year. It seems like we were just coming back from vacation last December in January 2010. It's been a great year so far. Now today, the first day of a new month, right, December 1st. Challenging days today, right? I kind of fell victim today to being a little bit overconfident and running into a market that really was difficult today. So when you kind of cross being overconfident from having a really good record-breaking month in November, we had a huge month in November. It almost felt like everything we touched turned to gold in November. And so of course, I'll be honest, I was a little bit overconfident coming in this morning. And then of course, you kind of cross paths with one of the most challenging days we've seen in a while, and you get the results we had today. Pretty much a break-even day. Made some money, gave it back, made some money, gave it back. But I also made some bad decisions today. And that's one thing we're going to talk about here this morning is when you've got a tough market, right, making bad decisions on top of that, well, it just compounds the problem. Right? I took a number of losses today, guys. We'll talk about those here in this review. But one thing that I learned this morning, though, one thing that I definitely learned right away, and of course I knew this, but I want you guys to also learn this too, is that when you see that things are tough out there, it's time to buckle down and make the right trading decisions. All right, and that's something this morning that when you look back at my results today, that's just screaming at me. All right, so we'll take a look at that here in a moment for you. Before we talk about those trades we took today, though, I want to remind you guys about our blog. Our blog has all kinds of great stuff on it, guys. Now above me, right, above this video here, you'll see a header. In the header here, you'll see trade room resources, you'll see beginners training, you've got live webinars. So check out the header up top here, right? Lots of great stuff there. Lots of videos underneath the trade room resources section. And then right below me, or should I say to the right of me here, right, on the right column of this page, you'll see the live support button, the search box, and of course the follow me button. Now, very important, if you guys want to get all the new updates, for example, we put trade calls on the blog, we post articles in the morning, we post our morning prep. So our morning prep, right, once that's posted online, if you're following our blog, you'll be given an instant alert, and you'll know, of course, to go check our blog. So if you're following the blog, you'll get all the brand new stuff when it comes out. And of course, that will make it easier for you guys to follow along with us. So get to know the blog, lots of great stuff in the blog. But today, what happened today? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 total trades. Boy, it was a little bit frustrating because, again, bad decisions combined with a tough market, and we've got ourselves, well, this is exactly what happened to me today. So made a couple bad decisions on crude, right? Should have known better on that, and made the money right back, right? Then, of course, we get back in the green, and then gave the money back again. So you can see kind of that roller coaster ride today. Thought we had ourselves in a pretty good spot late in the morning, but again, had that breaker pattern long on crude that took some money back as well. So we knew today was a Wednesday, so we knew we had a challenging day, right? But again, those poor trading decisions, they really kind of magnified the losses today. I still was able to make 32 ticks at the end of the morning, right? Had that scratch trade on gold, the final trade there. So 32 ticks, 320 USD, and of course, this is the first day of the week, first day of the month. So of course, 32 ticks, 320 USD. It brings our monthly total to 320 and our yearly total now just shy of 230,000 bucks. Now, what's the most important thing we saw today? Well, again, first day of the month, always a little bit up in the air, right? I'm not too worried about the end of the month, the beginning of the month too badly. There was lots of news today. We had 8 o'clock news. We had 9:45 news. We had 10 o'clock news, right? 10:30 news. We had lots of important news today. Okay, the biggest thing we saw today, though, when it came to the news, was we saw a little bit kind of counteracting, right? Good for the dollar, bad for the dollar, right? This morning we had at 10 o'clock, of course, we had construction spending in ISM, right? We had construction spending flat. ISM manufacturing came out higher. Consumer confidence comes out lower. So we're having a hard time seeing anything bullish or bearish consistently in the dollar. So the news came out a little bit back and forth. We had the big news, though, today at 10:30 on crude, which meant of course, on Wednesdays, every Wednesday, we always expect to see 10:30 crude inventories. Well, we always know that at 10:30, before 10:30, okay, we're usually going to be a little more careful on crude, right? That was one thing I didn't apparently understand today. Okay, kept taking higher risk trades on crude this morning when I had no business doing so, right? Before 10:30 on Wednesdays, I've got to be on my best behavior, right, for crude oil because I'm not going to get the benefit of the bounce on crude on Wednesday mornings. And then after 10:30, we usually see the market go crazy after 10:30. But this morning, what happened? We had some announcement come out from the White House. They're extending the ban on offshore drilling, and I really think that that kept that news event kind of balanced. We didn't rise, we didn't fall, we just chopped around sideways until the end of the morning. About noontime, crude finally jumped, right, late in the morning, but it was far too late in the morning for me to be trading that. So 10:30 news came out. And again, remember guys, we oftentimes will see the personality completely different after 10:30 news on crude, because remember, this is a crude market with crude oil inventories, right? It's like trading nat gas on nat gas inventories, right? There's going to be a big personality change once that news event comes out. Usually we see these things, right, rising, falling, right, big moves. But because of that announcement from the White House about the ban on offshore drilling, I think a lot of crude traders went back to the drawing board to look and see, okay, how are we going to position ourselves for the long run now? So at 10:30 this morning, we didn't get that big, strong move after, I think, because of the news that came out just before the 10:30 news. All right, so the crude oil, we really had a hard time from beginning to the end, really pretty much out of our control. I knew before 10:30 I wanted to be careful. And then usually after 10:30, we get some great moves. In fact, if you look back at our last couple of Wednesdays, the last month and a half of Wednesdays have been huge days for us. So we're used to having big Wednesdays after 10:30. Today was very different though. Now, we had no idea of anticipating this, right? We had no idea of predicting this is going to happen on crude after 10:30. But I did know that before 10:30 was going to be more risky. So I should have stayed away from the market in the higher risk positions, right, before 10:30. And then after 10:30, read the tape, look for clues as far as what the reaction is going to be. One of the biggest problems about today, though, was the dollar. The dollar didn't break out until after 9:30. It was very, very narrow, and a narrow dollar is going to mean narrow everything else. In fact, we talked about that this morning, about how a brand new trader, one of the easiest ways you can make sure you're always only trading at the best possible times, bracket the high, bracket the low of the dollar, wait for the dollar to break the lows, wait for the dollar to break the highs, right? And what I use that price alert indicator to mark the highs and mark the lows, right? Now, we didn't have that breakout until 9:30 this morning, which means if you look at my track record here today, after 9:30, we had skipped almost all of the losses. So this would have really saved me by simply following that simple rule. Don't trade unless the dollar's moving. Right? We didn't have the dollar moving. Another poor decision I made this morning. And then, of course, one of the biggest problems we had was on gold. Right? Now, usually when the crude market is on Wednesdays, we'll have the gold moving. But the gold today was tucked right at the top of the channel, and we tried to go short, buy or sell it in. Tried to go long, sell or set it down. So the gold was sitting at the highs of the price channel. We were just drooling over selling those highs, right, guys? I mean, we saw that in the morning prep this morning. This big open space to the downside. But something kept that gold propped up there at those highs. And really, for the most part, we couldn't define who had control, right? I couldn't tell you who had control over price because we didn't know. We couldn't tell, was it the buyers in control of the highs? Were they going to buy a pullback at the highs? Or was that pullback going to be a reversal, right? We couldn't tell. And so being at the highs on gold, we're looking and expecting a short, but we never saw it triggered, never got into it. All right, guys? So today, if I had to sum up the whole entire day today, right, it would be really frustrating, right? We didn't see anything perfect set up. There were no real picture perfect patterns, right? We talk about looking for those perfect patterns. Right? It's that perfect fastball, right? It's that perfect jump shot, right? It's that perfect pattern that we know like the back of our hands. We didn't see that today.